Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
This evening we are joined by two mystery special guests. The first one is Mr. Bernard, lifelong City fan and expert. The second one,
expert.
I'd say you're an expert, yeah. You know more about City than me and Martin. And the second one is Mr. Aussie Powers, lifelong ZZ Top impersonator. How we doing, gentlemen? We all right?
Yeah, great. Absolutely wonderful.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
right.
good, thanks.
Premier League, plenty of agendas to talk about this week, but let's get straight into it, shall we? Starting on Tuesday night, we've had, after the previous weekend, the cup games and all the rest of it, Southampton 4, Brentford 1. Bit of a dark horse, Southampton, gentlemen. Anyone watch the game? Doubt it.
Nope, but I do remember talking about Southampton a couple of weeks back, and we were talking about goals. And since we had that conversation, Southampton have suddenly started adding goals to their mix, which is an added bonus, and goals win prizes in this game.
Do they? Goodly toy. The other game that evening was Everton versus Leicester. PP postponed. Why was it postponed, Martin? COVID? AFCON?
Yeah.
False PCR, false negatives? Any reason?
Because they wanted it off. They wanted it
they just didn't want to play because Rafa was the manager. You know, spoiler alert.
I don't know anymore with these postponements. Don't know if anyone else can add any light on these postponements anymore.
Who knows? Well, we're gonna get into that in a little bit, but let's just run through the fixtures anyway. West Ham 2, Norwich 0. Go on, your Irons. Go on. What? If City didn't exist, there'd be a West Ham fan, mate. I'm not lying about it. They just love West Ham. But you know, that was Wednesday.
Sick of these fake blues.
That was Wednesday. Nothing on the Thursday. Then on Friday night we had Brighton 1, Crystal Palace 1. Martin.
Come to me, Brighton.
Come on. Tell us, because you love Graeme Potter, you think that Graeme Potter is the natural successor to Pep Guardiola. So Vieira and his boys rocked up, got a point away from home. What's the story?
Well, it was I'm going to use this word so loosely. Fierce derby. I still find it hilarious that that's even a derby. Sorry, I don't get it. But yeah, fiercely contested derby on a Friday night. It's derby night. Let's have it on a Friday when everyone's pissed. That's generally the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, yeah. By the way, good evening to everyone in the chat. Tom Betts, I'm glad you found us.
He's back.
SOS, Big Morgan, Mr. Rob Ward, everyone, good evening. Right, Martin, so go on. Graeme Potter, you think he's the heir to Pep Guardiola's throne. What do you think, Bernard? Are you convinced by the man?
Well, you got the dream partnership, haven't you? Potter and Vieira. I mean, what more can we ask? He's absolutely outstanding. I mean, you know, that Brighton Palace game, I mean, Palace were absolutely battered. It's the same problem that you probably talked about with Southampton. They have trouble getting the ball in the net, Brighton. That's their problem. But, if they start hitting the net, it'll be all right. But, I wouldn't. I like Mr. Potter, but, as a partnership, what do you think, guys? Him and Vieira in about 3 or 4 seasons, what do you think?
Well, why not just go the whole hog and get Arteta as well? Let's have a 3-way, shall we? Arteta, Vieira and Potter.
What about Aguero?
Get him in as well, sod it, yeah? What's Dave Silver up to? Get them all in, sod it.
Still playing.
But team by committee, that's what we'll be. What you're saying, it's kind of a compliment you're paying to Guardiola, because what you're saying is that it'd need about 6 regular people to replace his genius.
To do his job.
Right, anyway. Yeah, I don't know, Martin. You're on your own on Mr. Graeme Potter.
No, your lad scored, by the way, on Friday night.
Did he? Who's my lad? I don't know. I back every horse, mate, so I don't know which one it is this time.
Your lad.
Oh, Conor Gallagher.
The
greatest player if you're not a top 4 team. I'm telling you. He wouldn't do it at a top 4 team, but anywhere else in that league, I'd want to sign Conor Gallagher over anyone. No, seriously, because you don't need, if you're a top 4 team or if you're Manchester City, where you don't lose possession anyway, you don't need a Conor Gallagher.
Chelsea needed him.
Well, yeah. But if you're a team that doesn't have possession all the time, you need a Conor Gallagher, mate. I'm telling you, he's going to be a star. Already is a star. Saturday, Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0. How are we feeling after that one, gentlemen?
I've said my bit, so I'll leave this to Bernard and Ozzy. I've had my big say on this.
Go on, Ozzy.
So, for me, the game probably wasn't the best for City. They didn't play at the best tempo, but they controlled the game and did the job, really. Pretty much what we did to them at Stamford Bridge. So, for me, it's 3 points. You move on. Chelsea, you look at Tuchel on the sideline. He was going absolutely ballistic from minute one of that game. You what, Rob?
He couldn't have been wearing any more Chelsea kit if he tried, that guy. He had Chelsea underpants on as well?
Underpants, socks, shoes, rings, you name it. I think he was wearing the entire bling.
Can I ask you, Bernard, how many times has Kevin De Bruyne scored that goal against Chelsea?
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely marvellous. I had him down. I had him down as anytime goal scorer because there's no doubt about it. That's the safest bet you can think. But he loves it. KDB loves the Chelsea game, doesn't he? Let's be honest about it. And he's been a bit in and out, hasn't he, guys? But obviously he loved it yesterday. Again, he wasn't fantastic, but brilliant. I loved the way he just made sure that Chelsea defender got in the way of Kepa as well, so he couldn't see him draw his foot back as he wellied it into the corner. Absolutely wonderful from KDB. If we could play Chelsea every week, as the old song goes, KDB would love it.
He would. I totally agree. What about now N'Golo Kante? Me and Martin love him. Love a bit of Kante, but Rodri showing him how to play that DM role. I think Kante was very quiet.
Yeah. Well, he's all right, Kante. But Rodri, he sort of had him tucked under his arm, didn't he? Just sort of walking round with him. It was like one of those inflatables, but obviously it was Kante as the inflatable, wasn't it? Let's be honest about it. But, we're not talking about the inflatables, guys, unless you want to.
Yeah, how sad can you be as a Chelsea fan? Seriously.
No, I'm not going down that road.
How sad can you be? Seriously.
I think they were giving out the coach on the way up.
They must have been. Well, it was honestly, Chelsea, you are an embarrassing football club. 17,000 average attendance in the 80s. What a joke. Burnley versus Leicester, postponed.
Well, I just made this point out earlier. Burnley are not even at the halfway mark yet in their fixtures. They're not even at the 19-game mark. They're still at 17.
Burnley they've played about 3 games this season, haven't they, Burnley?
Well, I'm now starting to figure out why they got knocked out of the FA Cup, because they're going to make up all these fixtures on FA Cup weekend. I don't know what they're going to do. They'll be playing next year. I don't know what they're going to do.
They must have a plan, because they got rid of Chris Wood, so they must have a plan. There must be something in the air.
Yeah, they're waiting for
COVID, innit?
I think Sean Dyche is going to leave, if I'm honest, with the way things are going with Burnley.
Sean Dyche is married to Burnley Football Club. He'll be the manager in whatever league he plays.
Score the winner against Newcastle, send his boys down. Oh,
well, we'll come on to Newcastle in a minute, Martin. Interesting you say that. But Burnley, they've got a shed load of games in hand. It's ridiculous. There's this at the end of the month. We've got this international weekend or whatever. Are they going to play all 5 fixtures like it's a round robin over that weekend or what?
Well, there was going to be a winter break. There's no more.
But as far as I know, they've got to reply, haven't they, to UEFA or something to actually get permission to play or something daft.
Got to apply to FIFA, I think, to get that weekend to play, because it is, yes, 1 week is now classed as a winter break. Don't know why, but we have a winter break at the end of January for 1 week, but they have to get permission from FIFA to apply.
Now, there you go. Wardy just said in the chat there, Vardy had run out of Red Bull. That's why they had to cancel that fixture. Right, anyway, so Newcastle 1, Watford 1. That was a game that Newcastle had to win, is it not?
Yeah, they've got to beat the teams around them. They can't beat the teams around them. Let's face it, Watford should have stuffed them. They were absolutely awful. Watford sort of had the best of that game, and they can't beat the teams around them. With the wonderful Trippier and Mr. Wood added to the squad. Those mega stars. What chance have they got?
A bit of irony there in your sensing in your tone there.
Just a touch.
I read a stat. Didn't Watford have like 18 chances or something really daft like that. It was like 15, 18. It's like, you can't be at home and give away that many chances to an away team. What are you doing? I'm sorry.
Just got it up by yeah, Newcastle had 12 and Watford 18 shots.
That's what I mean. The away team had 18 shots. What are you doing? No wonder you're going down.
Yeah.
They are literally going to go down with $1 billion in the bank. And I'm sorry, you messed it all up. If Newcastle, I don't know, Pete's been on the channel, he's a great guy, but they're going down with $1 billion in the bank. And like I joked earlier, but I'm telling you now, Newcastle have got to play Burnley in 2 or 3 weeks, and Andy Carroll will be in that Burnley team. That is just irony in itself.
Are they getting Peter Crouch as well?
But Andy Carroll will work in that Burnley team. He'll work. Chris Wood will not work. It's like we got takeover. We buy Robinho. Newcastle get taken over. They buy Chris Wood.
Listen, I told you that Chris Wood was their Robinho, mate.
Oh. No.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Made a Wood.
Yeah, right, so let's get on to another tragedy that is Norwich and Everton. So Norwich, who have been a team this season so far that have tried not collecting any points, have beat Everton at home 2-1. Oh dear, Everton.
2 goals, what, 90 seconds was it? And yeah, I mean, it's that was it. That was enough, wasn't it? I mean, Richarlison did his Dennis Chewett impression, but it just wasn't good enough, guys. And what we'll talk about Benitez, no doubt.
Yeah, well, we'll get on to Agent Rafa in a little bit. We'll talk about him extensively, but Everton, unbelievable. Like I said off air before we started this show, when I was growing up, Everton were like one of the biggest teams. And how far have they fallen from David Moyes, and then on to Martinez, and then they've recently had Carlo Ancelotti, and Rafa Benitez, just unbelievable. I don't understand Everton at all. And now Martin just told us that Wayne Rooney and Duncan Ferguson are going to take over the castle. Yeah, that'll work. Martin?
I just think Everton have to change their whole perspective. I know Cal's in the chat, and they need to come away from this big name manager. I mean, Ozzy said off air earlier, Roberto Martinez. Everton will not have Roberto Martinez back. Not Cardinal's chance.
But why would Martinez go back? It's a World Cup. Yeah, he's taking Belgium to the World Cup in December. Why is he going to Everton? So I'm sorry about that. Even if you did want him back, he ain't going to you.
The thing is, I'm not saying Rooney and Ferguson as a permanent job. I'm saying as a sort of intermediate sort of manager, a part-time, in you go, end of the season, see, because they're going to need grit and determination now. Duncan Ferguson will get them that grit and determination.
Well, leave it. You're
going to get the passion. You're going to get the passion. That's what you're talking about.
You need it back.
And for the fans to get behind it as well. That's the thing, because they've certainly lost the fans, and they need to get the fans back. Obviously, based on the next appointment.
You're calling it passion, but is it not just volatility? Duncan Ferguson's a very angry man. He's just going to end up battering the players. I don't think he's going to instill faith in them or passion in them. And I think if they're fucking about on social media or something like that when they should be training, I think he's just going to rate them. And I don't know whether that's going to work in 2022.
But Roberto Martinez, like, if he is favourite, I'm sorry, they could end up going. Because he's not the answer to get them out of these problems. Roberto Martinez has not got this tremendous record.
Oh, I've just seen
it there. Wayne Rooney, so where are you thinking Rooney's going to come in?
Yeah,
make a difference?
I don't
I'm saying Rooney as his assistant.
What's he going to do? Stir the tea? Put sugar in the tea?
Rooney is doing a decent job at Derby. Don't look at Derby and go the bottom of the league.
Big Rob Ward's just said in the chat there, what about Graeme Potter to Everton? I don't know why Graeme
Potter... Why would he leave Brighton?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why would he leave Brighton? I mean, like, Everton would probably love to have Graeme Potter, but I don't think Graeme Potter would love to have Everton.
If Everton stayed up at the end of the season, then yes, they could possibly then have a look at Potter for next year.
Well, for my money, Martin, the only reason Everton are staying up this season is because there's three, four worse teams than them. That's the only reason why they're going to stay in the Premier League.
I'm not
Right.
looking. For me, Martinez is just the wrong way to go. He's not a good manager at all. Any other manager would have that Belgian team flying.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'd have them flying, sorry. And he's absolutely craps all over that job.
Right, Wolves, Southampton, 3-1 Wolves.
Yeah, again, against the run of play again, guys. I mean, Southampton played very, very well that game again. They just, Wolves took the chances and some great saves from their keeper. Southampton, I know we're playing them next, aren't we? They looked quite good again, just didn't take the chances, just didn't have the look in front of goal.
Are you saying that Southampton might cause us a bit of problems? I mean, I know we drew against them already, haven't we, this season?
Yeah, well, yeah, if they do what they did at the Etihad, I mean, they were superb at the Etihad. We couldn't do anything against them. But that doesn't mean we don't stuff them this week. But we never beat them by more than 2 or 3 goals there anyway. So
don't say that because I've got a 5-hour trip for that one.
Oh dear. Martin's going on to here we go. Martin's going to an away game. Martin's going to an away game, so we all have to read about it 500 times.
I'll tell you what though, the Ward-Prowse goal was a cracking goal though, absolutely cracking goal. You can't take it away from the guy. Like, he knows how to take a really good free kick.
Well, has it? I mean, this could be as Wolves. Because you remember, Rob, me and you, Rob, were like, Wolves are a bit, not sure. We were a bit, they could sort of be, not going down, but, just that level above the going down.
A couple of years ago under Nuno, they were like a revelation to football. But as Rob Ward just said in the chat there, Mr. Greased Up, Traore scored a goal, so that'd be good for his confidence if he can do that more than once a season.
Yeah, looks like he's going out the door, doesn't he, to Spurs potentially.
That's a loan deal as well. They're looking at a loan deal with a permanent. It's not a bad loan, Not a bad loan.
Right, and now this is I'll be honest with you. After the City game, the only game that I really watched that day was Villa 2, Manchester United 2. And oh my goodness, the meltdowns. Oh my goodness. Wreck-It Ralph doesn't know how to make a substitution. He's worse than Pep Guardiola for not making subs. So Manchester United, I don't know whether I can say they were in control of the game, but they certainly lost control.
Well, if you look at the possession stats, Villa were better in the possession stats. Only just, but, they were controlling the game better than United were.
How can Ralph make subs? I mean, it's a bit like the Tevez thing with us in that European game. The players don't want to come on. How can he make any substitutes?
Allegedly.
Players don't want to come on the pitch.
Oh, Donny van de Beek does.
Oh, he just can't get on the pitch. Are you talking about a certain Frenchman there, Bernard? Are you who's denied all knowledge of this? You've got Ronaldo with his dodgy knee all of a sudden. Yeah, he's got a problem. He's got a big mouth.
I think they've all got. You know what I can't believe over the last week? I mean, Marcus Rashford, in the community, Marcus Rashford has been a revelation for some of the poor people in Manchester. Absolute great guy for that. Fantastic guy. Honestly, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because anyone who knows me knows that sort of those civil matters are close to my heart. But they haven't half tried dragging him over the coals recently as a footballer. I don't understand it in the slightest. That's a homegrown talent. That's a Manchester lad. That's a United fan. And the United fans, the amount of United fans, obviously, because they've got about 3 fans in Manchester. But the global fan base of Manchester United have been saying, sell him, get rid, disgusting, not good enough to wear the shirt, blah, blah, blah. They just don't get it. They don't get it. Manchester United are steeped in this history of always playing a local lad, always having a Manc or an academy graduate in their squad, starting lineup, whatever it is, ever since 1940, 50 or whatever it is. And they're really, really, really trying to crucify Marcus Rashford. And I'm sorry that the problems at that football club do not stem from Marcus Rashford's football boots. They just don't. So it's been amazing to see how horrible and vile some of the United fans have been to one of a great player, in my opinion.
Can I throw a question to Bernard and Ozzy, Rob? Sorry, just a quick one.
Go for it.
But Ralph apparently there's rumours today he's not being backed in the market. He wanted to bring in a player or two, apparently. And apparently the board are a bit not sure about that. This is a guy who's becoming technical director, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I can't. How are they going to back someone that just going upstairs anyway? So what's the whole point of doing it? There's absolutely no logic whatsoever.
But
Why
what I
would
mean
you
is,
back a manager who isn't going to be a manager next year? I don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, a loan signing maybe, but why did they get Rooney in, mate? You said he's good.
What I'm just saying is, what is the point? If you don't trust the guy now, how are you going to trust him when he goes upstairs, when he try and recommends a player?
Absolutely.
It's a circus.
He said that he wants a midfielder, right? But they've got Matic, Mata, McTominay, Fred, Pogba, Van der Beek, and a couple of others probably that I don't even know the names of. But they've got a plethora of midfielders, and they're all shite. And it's unbelievable. Well, Phil Jones is a revelation, mate.
Well, I don't know. I think United are going for the record of how much money you spend on centre backs. They've got Varane, they've got Maguire, they've got. I don't know. Do they want to buy everyone at centre back can have a game there? I don't know.
I don't know.
You call us for spending.
So the game yesterday, so it ended up in a 2-2 draw. United threw away a 2-0 lead. Almost written in the stars, sort of, that Felipe Coutinho would get the equaliser for Aston Villa. And I genuinely think if that game would have gone on for another 10 minutes, Villa would have won it. So, Manchester United, the gift that keeps on giving. Right, today, me and Martin did a stream before on Twitch where Martin watched the West Ham game and I watched the Liverpool game. I genuinely wish I would have watched the West Ham game now because the Liverpool game was boring. I actually tell you what I did during that Liverpool game. I counted empty seats.
No, we did.
Because Anfield...
Never. It's lies. It's all an illusion. It's not real.
Anfield
we genuinely
was half bloody empty.
But I got the better half because I got the more exciting game. Rob got the boring game. He turned it off. He turned it off halfway through. He'd had enough of it.
Where is it? Where's these images? I think this is the right one.
Well, there's a certain ex-City player who had a cracking game, didn't he?
There you go.
I know he never played for us, but still.
There you go. That's from the second half. Look at all those empty seats. Look at all those empty seats at Anfield, and that wasn't 5 seconds before the half-time whistle, and it wasn't 5 seconds into the second half. That is Anfield with shitloads of empty seats.
28 minutes.
I hate to be one of those seat counters because you should just be appreciating the football, but piss off with your agendas about Etihad being empty. Seriously, get away with yourselves. Old Trafford's half empty all the time, and nobody talks about it. And Anfield isn't this fortress that you claim it is, and it's not full of fans like you claim it is. So behave yourselves. The game itself, Brentford were resilient for most of the first half. Then they conceded a goal from a corner. What are you laughing at, Martin?
Because Rob Ward's put he drew circles.
What?
Rob Ward's put in the chat he drew circles.
What?
Rob Ward said you were drawing circles.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Sorry. Go on.
So Brentford were resilient for their part, and then they lost 3-0. So that was all I can say about that game. Other than that, I didn't watch the full 90 minutes because it was just boring. One thing that I would, Jim Beglin says hi, because he called us empty yesterday on the commentary. Wonderful.
That just tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, just a bunch of pedants, all pathetic, and I hate them all. And I'm just glad that we play the best football in the world, and they can all suck a dick while we win the trophies. Liverpool won. They're still 11 points behind. They've got a game in hand, and unless one game is worth 11 points, they're still fucking in our dust. So don't give a shit. Have you got anything to say about Liverpool, Brentford? Because I don't. No more than I've said. I can't stand them.
Bernard, have you got anything you want to add, mate?
No, I watched a bit of the West Ham game. I couldn't face watching Liverpool and Brentford. I didn't have to, so I didn't.
So, yeah, we'll get on to that then. West Ham 2, Leeds United 3. Martin and Bernard, you watched it. Ozzy, did you watch it? Or is it just these two that watched it?
I caught some of it. I didn't get all of it, I'm afraid.
Do you want to talk us through it then, Bernard?
Oh, just a fantastic game, wasn't it, guys? I mean, obviously, it had everything. A certain guy, I remember, is it Jack Harrison? I think I've heard of him. I can't remember. Did okay in it, and it was a typical West Ham game where they have a goal, and obviously Leeds have a goal. So if you're going to have two teams like that, it's perfect. It's not the greatest football, of course. Of course, it's not. We play the greatest football, but I mean, at the end of the day, a typical good end-to-end Premier League game. That's what we want. And all right, the result was okay. It got interesting VAR decisions towards the end, which lightened things up a little bit as well. So no, I thought it was a great game. That's a good Premier League game. If you're not watching City, that's probably one of the best games I've seen for a long time.
Yeah, it was a advertisement, as Bernard just said, spot on. We had VAR. Hitting the post, hitting the bar, disallowed goals. It was, it was a really good game of football. Rafinha really impressed me. Thought his trickery, Harrison, like Ozzy said, and West Ham played their part. Again, West Ham. I thought Leeds United were at home at one point. There was that many white seats going round. Thought they were playing at Ellen Road. But hey, listen. Sorry, I've got to have the cheap dig on these empty seats because everyone does it to us, but no one ever says anything to anyone else. But that was a really good advertisement for the Premier League. And for me, that's how a team plays when they're fighting for relegation. No fear. And that's why Leeds will get out of it quite happily. And I'm sure they'll be totally fine and they'll finish comfortably mid-table. We were all a bit worried as would Bielsa's bubble burst a little bit. But when they come up against a team that are like West Ham, like Bernard said, who want to play the football, Leeds 9 times out of 10 will cause more problems because they play football the correct way.
Fair play to him. And you said you made comments about Bielsa as well, squatting down on a box for 90 minutes.
He must have knees of steel.
Knees of steel.
Bernard, am I right? Ozzy, come on. I've never seen a 60-odd-year-old man squat on his knees for 95 minutes.
Oh, you don't see me at work in the morning, mate.
Right, so gentlemen, now we've talked about the fixtures that have been, let's talk about in more detail. Martin, this is a chance for you to go on a rant. Bernard, it's a chance for you to have your say. And Ozzy, right, coronavirus keeps rearing its ugly head. There's still games getting postponed left, right and centre with all the excuses under the book. Now, I want to start this off with a little bit of a rant. So, on Friday, Martin Keown, the eternal idiot, with Simon Jordan, the other eternal idiot, on Talk Waffle, they were talking about coronavirus and how it's had a detrimental effect on Liverpool and Chelsea. And Martin Keown made the following statement, and he didn't mean it in a complimentary way. I have to let this be known. Manchester City have not been affected by coronavirus, was his statement, and he didn't mean it as in like we're so good and we've got such depth that even though we were plagued with coronavirus, we still managed to play all our fixtures. He didn't mean it in that way. He meant it as in City's not had any cases. By the way, we've had 21 senior staff, players and our manager affected with coronavirus in the last few weeks alone. Before that, we had many coronavirus cases, Stones, Walker, all sorts of different people. Obviously, we don't know the minutiae of it all because it was never declared, but there's a lot of players been out with coronavirus since December, if not before that. So to come out with the utter waffle that we've not had any coronavirus cases and we've not been affected by coronavirus is absolute stupidity. So what I will say is, Liverpool, 19 fake false positives and negative results and blah, blah, blah. That's absolute nonsense. The Premier League needs to look into that. And I think what I said before when we had a bit of a mess about stream was, if there's an investigation into these clubs that are using this coronavirus thing to their advantage, which is clear that certain clubs are doing that, if you're playing a game of football and you go down to 8 or 7 men, you automatically forfeit the match if it's before a certain period. You know, if you lose a few players to red cards, once you get down to a certain number, you forfeit the match and the opposition wins by default 3-0, I think it is. I think that they should do investigations into these teams that have been trying to game the system And I think that they should automatically forfeit those fixtures and give the points to the other teams, because I think it's got ridiculous at this point. There's been so many games that have been called off with COVID and all the rest of that nonsense. So, gentlemen, over to you. Tell me I'm wrong, tell me I'm right, tell me what's going on with these clubs, tell me that it's all a giant misunderstanding and everyone needs to have more sympathy. Whatever you want, go for it.
Well, you're right about the investigation about Liverpool. They are apparently being investigated by the FA, but that was a very small headline and it's kind of been brushed under the carpet ever since it came out. I've heard nothing since. I'm hearing nothing about any other really investigations against all the teams that have come out having to postpone. I mean, the North London derby was postponed today, wasn't it? So, and Arsenal only played the other day. So, I think you're right, Rob. Something doesn't smell right. I think there does need to be an investigation. And I think, teams have got to play. Even if they're having to bring some of the academy kids on, and they've just got to play the games. If you've got a couple of cases, fair enough. But if you've got enough players to play, the Premier League should be saying, no, you play. That's my perspective on this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Pep's already said, hasn't he, as long as we've got 11 fit first team players, we'll play a game. That's all there is to it. And I think that's quite the right thing to say. And this jumping on City is just another excuse to have a go at us, mate. I mean, they're just so far behind us. We've rattled them so much, these guys, both in the media and managers as well. Tuchel and Klopp are just as bad. I mean, this is just something to it as though we're something special and we've done something special. And at the end of the day, we're just playing the game. We're just trying to get through and do what we should be doing the right things. And the thing that's worrying about this is that the Premier League are relying on clubs to be honest about things. I mean, they've got absolutely no cat and else chance, have they? I mean, Liverpool, honest, come on. Arsenal, honest. I mean, Mr. Alan Davies can rattle on about our honesty, etc. But come on. I mean, it's just ridiculous. There should be some sort of independence. So I don't assume they have a couple of nurses at each ground checking for injuries and COVID every day. But there should be something more official than just relying on each team's admin to say, oh yes, we haven't got enough players this week. It's ridiculous. And I think, as we're saying there, if you haven't got a full team, you have to play kids. We just have to work through it. If they want to play the games, they want to keep the league going, then you just have to play through it, because it's getting to ridiculous levels now. And I don't trust anyone. I trust my team, which I'm bound to. I'm biased, of course I am, but I don't trust any of these other buggers. And say I mentioned Arsenal. Then I mean, they've got a Carabao Cup game again this week, haven't they? And they're not going to play that now. So what's happening to that? Liverpool cancelled it the first time, and Arsenal going to cancel it this time, the second leg. It's just a joke. If you can put a team out, and just get on with it, because I don't trust anybody at the moment.
Right, okay. Let's get the first thing straight. Take the COVID out of it. Because Arsenal's game today was not off because of COVID. They had one positive case. It was AFCON. And as I said earlier during our little mess around stream, we are the only team in the whole league in the whole of Europe who is allowed to use AFCON as an excuse. So in France, in Germany, in Spain, in all these others, you are not allowed to include your missing AFCON players in your haven't got any players excuse. The thing that gets me is Arsenal knew, because they signed all these players. As we bought Mahrez, we knew that the AFCON was just up there with the Copa America, the Euros, and everything else. That is their big competition. Arsenal's fault if they want to go and sign 3 or 4 players from the AFCON. Same as Liverpool. They bought Salah, they bought Mane, they bought Matip. They knew all this. They bought Keita. They knew all this before they even got going. So, the only team I will give any sort of thing for is Crystal Palace with Zaha, because he changed allegiances after they signed him. Here's the kicker on that, though. They had to be full internationals to sign for the club they're at to get the work permit. So you can't have it working one way and then you don't want to work it the other because it don't suit your system. What we're in now, Ozzy and Bernard both said there, it's the Premier League. This is the Premier League's fault. These are their stupid rules that they have banged into place. And I get this confidentiality. I get it. But we're now in a situation where you can ring somebody up and go, sorry, we've got 12 cases today. Can't play next week. Okay, no problem. Bye-bye. Game off. Because we've got these rules. And they're not even the PCR test to do it. They're doing the rapid lateral flows to get this through as well. Like Bernie said, do we have to get to a point where we're sending nurses to these clubs to do their own tests as they're going along, and we get it done by an independent party? We're saying we can't trust the clubs anymore at this system. Because it's funny. I said, watch Arteta's interview after that Liverpool game on whenever it was last week in the Cup. That game was never going ahead today because he was already bitching, complaining about his injuries after the game at Anfield the other night. This was never going ahead. And I'll tell you why. Because they'd already submitted the application form. Because that's in the Premier League rules. The application form has to go in ASAP. The rules actually say give them as much notice as you can. I didn't realise COVID turns around and gives you 5 days notice before it's coming knocking on your door. So why is the rule give us as much notice as you can? It's a farce. And it's going to be used to change systems and shoot your arguments into the champ. This could be meddled around so you get Champions League spots, don't get relegated. There could be a huge lawsuit by the end of this if some really clever lawyer wants to throw this going.
Oh, it'll be swept under the. If it was, see, this is the thing, Martin. You've got the wrong. If it was Manchester City dodging fixtures left, right, and centre.
Oh yeah, because we've no history.
The Sun would be all over it. The Times would be all over it. The Telegraph would be. Fabrizio Romano would be doing live streams 24 hours a day about it. But it's not City. That's the issue here, Martin. It's the history boys that are doing it. It's the Liverpools and the Arsenals.
This will still be here next year. COVID doesn't disappear when it comes to the new season. It's like Pep said. COVID doesn't get to the city gates and go, whoa, no thanks. Not allowed in there. I'm turning round. They've got a big protective bubble up. See ya. Come on. Let's wake up. The Premier League have put the foot in their mouths here, and they need to get it out and change very quickly. Sick of having the G14 group protected. Anyway, rant over.
Well, don't just sit in silence, gentlemen. Discuss.
But Bernard, Ozzy, I don't know what you think about that. For me, the rule has to change. The Premier League, they put the foot in the mouth here. They really have with this.
They can't change it now, though, Martin. Can they? You can't change it halfway through. Once you made a decision, you've got to stick like VAR. Once you make a decision, you've got to stick with it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What can the Premier League do now? Because obviously you've got teams who are 3 or 4 games behind. It actually doesn't look that bad in the league table, the teams 3 or 4 games behind. But to say it's the big teams, it's the Liverpools who are getting away with things. But there's nothing they can do now. They say you can only do something at the start of next season. You can't really suddenly change the rules now. I mean, it'll upset Hasenhüttl as well. I mean, he'll be worried about playing teams that sign players and stuff like this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bernard, but you're a bit. I don't know about this one because Burnley, as it stands, Bernard, they might not get relegated until March next year.
Well, they're going to play 2 games at once at Turf Moor. They're going to have 2 matches at the same time and just see how it goes and have 2 balls. That'd be fun. It'd be good to watch. Probably more entertaining than what we usually see at Turf Moor anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, but they're going to know what they're going to need to do. They're at a proper advantage here because they're going to know exactly what they need out. They can literally pinpoint their last few games. Well, this is where
breaking news, by the way. Breaking news from Robert Ward at TalkSport. COVID is Manchester City's fault.
Well, yeah.
Sun Ji-ai's dad. It's his fault.
Oh, dear.
He's done it. He did it.
Oh, dear. Might as well be. Yeah, gentlemen, come on. Ozzy, you're the medical professional around here. How does football deal with coronavirus? Other than my suggestion a couple of weeks ago was to just throw them all in squad bubbles and let them have no social life and just let them play football like robots. What are you saying?
The problem with that is, though, it was kind of done back when COVID at its height. The Premier League were having to do that, were having to stick to bubbles. But now because, we've got more freedom and, restrictions are kind of being eased. And we know COVID isn't going anywhere just yet. it's something we're going to have to live with. So I think there just needs to be better protocols put in place. I think going back to kind of having players tested, that need to come away from the Premier League itself, as in like independent. But we've been saying this about the concussion, because when club doctors go over and check out, one of their players that's been concussed, they're not always doing the right decision, and that's come out where they've sent players back on they shouldn't have. I mean, we've been saying that possibly, we need to have independent doctors when a concussion happens on the pitch to go over and make sure that player's okay. Now, where they need to do that with COVID and going to clubs saying, we've got a COVID breakout, we've got too many players that have tested positive and we can't get them to play their game, may have to be the case, because just something is going on with these teams.
That's ideal world thinking, Ozzy. Football's way better than that, mate. There's not a chance that you're going to get independent anything in any of the clubs.
Who's going to pay for it?
And who's going to pay for it? Yeah.
And the clubs won't. And then how do you get around the confidentiality part? This is
Well, any doctor worth their salt is not going to break confidentiality. So that's not an issue. So even with an independent doctor,
it wouldn't fly with a club. You'd get 5 clubs agreeing to it and 15 saying no. Consensus in the Premier League it just doesn't happen on that sort of stuff.
You need 14 clubs to agree, don't you? I think is it 14 out of 20?
I think so. Yeah.
Listen, I know I said to you, but they're not going to. This is what I'm saying. Where do we go? Because COVID isn't like 2022, 23 season. Tell you what, I'll have a year off.
The idea has been for the last several months to just plough through it, hasn't it? To just get on with it, carry on regardless almost.
But then teams have
for some teams it's worked, like for Manchester City it's worked, and I would say it's worked favourably, but for other teams it's been an absolute disaster for various reasons. But I mean, the Burnley situation is only partly due to COVID, because the teams have been playing and their own issues or whatever, but other teams gaming the system. Liverpool certainly gamed the system, not necessarily for the Premier League, but certainly for the Cup. And it's just, I don't know, it's a disaster, absolute disaster. But
sorry, you made a point, Rob, about the snow, didn't you, with Burnley? One of Burnley's games is because snow came down. Now, I was watching, like everyone else, the live pictures. Yes, it was pretty heavy snow for England. It wasn't, nothing like America and Canada and everywhere else. But if we all remember the game when we played, I think it was the West Ham game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We delayed kick-off at half-time by 10 minutes, and we had grounds people who were out of this world who got that snow cleared. Because it was coming down heavy, it was sticking, the ball had stopped working. Why didn't Burnley get their staff out to do that?
I kind of made like a little throwaway comment about it before. I was thinking, I'm pretty sure that it was Rushden and Diamonds in non-league where they couldn't get promoted because they didn't have the appropriate facilities for league football or something like that. I might be wrong, but for some reason I've got Rushden and Diamonds in my head. Should there not be some sort of rules for the Premier League, like your ground's got to meet these certain quotas? Because the snow in this country, if you've ever been to Canada or America, that they've got snow. We've got drizzle, cold drizzle. Now, if a Premier League ground has not got undersoil heating and appropriate ground staff, then why are we letting them in the Premier League? This is supposed to be the pinnacle of football. This is the creme de la creme product.
Don't forget, guys, you also say it's for the fans' benefit, a lot of these things, because of the dangers outside the ground. So that's the excuse they use.
We had a year and a half without fans, Bernard.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. They'll always change the rules to suit each other, but they'll just say, well, obviously we're thinking about the safety of the fans, which is utter naff, utter guff. But that's what they'll always say. So there's, again, no foolproof way around it.
What I'm trying to figure out is Manchester City have avoided all of these landmines. How are we still going to get blamed for it?
I just can't cope with all the compliments we've had from the media and everything, how well we've been doing. I'm just not used to all this kindness being shown to us. It's again, there's a bit of irony and tongue in cheek. It's just, I don't know why do we bother trying to do things the correct way? Because they just slag us off anyway. There's absolutely no point whatsoever.
Do you think we come across as bitter? Do you think we've become bitter? No, I'm asking genuinely because
I don't understand it, Martin, because I remember growing up, before we got the money, Martin, Everybody I knew that wasn't a Manchester United fan, and I even include Liverpool fans in this, everybody's second team was Ickle City. Oh, City are playing the Manchester Derby. We hope City win. Oh, City have got a tough away draw in the League Cup or the FA Cup. Go on, we'll back City.
If my team doesn't
and now we're the enemy.
Cup, you win it.
Now we're the enemy. We are the ultimate enemy.
We
are the ultimate pantomime villain.
Yeah.
Just look at yours and Aussie's background. There's the Etihad Stadium, and that's been heavily photoshopped because there's no way you get that many fans.
No little circles on it. No little circles showing empty seats. I can't see any.
No, even the family stands full. Look, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, terrible. Shocking. Right, final thoughts for this weekend, gentlemen. Bernard, will let you go first as you're our guest.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to our game against Chelsea and the fact that we were pretty gutless, and I'm hoping we can force Liverpool into that sort of situation where they're going to be gutless as well by the time we play, and we psychologically battered them as well, because Klopp's obviously giving it out now and he's losing it. Obviously, they're very, very lucky in a way, because obviously these AFCON games are sort of mainly being played against rubbishy teams, aren't they? So they should be able to pick up maximum points. But I just hope psychologically, and this is what I look at it with City at the moment, we've got everyone chasing, we've got everyone panicking, everyone's slagging us off, the media, the managers of opposing teams, and it's great. And I just hope we continue. I'm sure we won't collapse. I'm sure it'll carry on and we'll relentlessly pursue this. But
cheers, Bernard.
I mean, you know me, I'm a glass half full guy. So I mean, this is not unusual for me, to be honest. But I just want to batter them psychologically and mentally. I want them to be absolutely shattered this season, not just by COVID. I just want us to absolutely win by 20 points or something by the end of it, at least, something like that. And they'll say, oh, we'll put an asterisk next to this title win because it was a COVID-affected season and all this crap will hear. But I just want us to just carry on. I want us to stuff Southampton next week, win the FA Cup, finally win the bleeding Champions League. I just want to get that out of the bloody way. Do something in that as well. And I just want it all to go well this season. But I'm a City fan, so it probably won't. But that's my last thought for the day.
Bernard,
anyway, guys. Thanks for having me on. Cheers.
When you say glass half full, do you mean stadium half full? Anyway,
as well, anything.
Bernard, you've got your own foray into social media presence with your YouTube channel, very successful. You do some excellent reviews. Do you want to just give it a little bit of a plug before we get Aussie and Martin's final thoughts?
It's really under my name, guys. I mean, I call it the Citizen Channel with an I, not with a Y. I'm old-fashioned, as you know, and it's based on I did have a Plan magazine back in the old Peter Swells days, but he stabbed me in the back. But there you go, no difference there, was the guys? So that's why I call it the Citizen Channel. But any guys, if they follow me on Twitter at Bernard_Dineen, all the links are there to all my YouTube stuff, and much appreciated. And I've really enjoyed it tonight, guys. Thank you very much.
One question which could backfire, Bernard: is it Man City or is it Manchester City?
Manchester City, mate.
Good man. Aussie?
Yeah, it's been quite an interesting weekend. Just going back to the City game, I think, the man of the match for me was Raheem Sterling. I know Kevin, cracking goal, no one takes that away from him, but Sterling has found his form again for me. All the haters, on his back saying he's done, I want him out. What they're saying now, I want to hear it, because...
Well, I've got one more thing for you, gentlemen, and now FIFA's just reminded me, so thank you, FIFA. People are calling it a Farmers League now. Now, I proposed this question in the post-match. When this season started, we were all licking our lips. We were thinking Chelsea are going to be at the races, Liverpool are at the races, City at the races, are United making a comeback, are Arsenal making a comeback, are Tottenham going to be good this year? Watching all these games as we do for the 20 week in, week out, the quality of football has been absolutely fantastic throughout the league. With the odd exception, Norwich have been a bit crap. But the quality of the football has been fantastic throughout this league all season. Is it testament to how good Manchester City are that we're 11 points ahead of second place? Or is it a Farmers League? Personally, I believe it's a testament to just how good we are, because the quality of the league, I think, is fantastic. A lot of other fans and a lot of other fans from social media channels and all the rest of it have said that the football's crap, City, you're boring, and all the rest of it. I don't believe that for a second. I just think it's testament to just how good Manchester City are. This is not a farmers' league. This is a very competitive league. If you've been paying attention to the 20 and looking at some of the results from this week, last week, whatever, the football has been fantastic. And for me, it's a testament to just how good this Manchester City team are. Gentlemen?
I think you can't, I mean, the media keeps coming out saying, we've got the best managers in the Premier League compared to, the rest of Europe. We've got some of the best players. So I don't see how it's a farmers' league. I really don't. You can't say one hand, we're so competitive and, we're having all these brilliant games, like we've mentioned today, and then say City are running away with it. But what happens when United ran away with it back in the day? What happened when Liverpool ran away with it back in the day? I didn't hear any complaints
then. It's just because it's City, Ozzy. That's the problem. And can we stop saying might as well be Celtic, and can we say might as well be Rangers, and as it's 56 titles and they're the best football team in the world? Bernard, Farmers League or no?
Well, I think, as we're just saying there, I mean, if it had been Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, United, if they'd have been in the position we are at the moment, looking at that top of the table, it wouldn't be being called a Farmers League. It's only being called a Farmers League because it's City. It's as simple as that. Yes, there is a little bit of an asterisk. Last season was an asterisk-affected season, if you like, with the COVID, but we came through that. And we're just showing our true mettle again this season and sort of leading things as they stand now, and we're just getting on with it. And say it's only because it's City that, again, the conspiracy theories, but... Any other team in that the so-called top six or whatever, and it wouldn't be a Farmers League. It's just because it's us.
Absolutely, Martin. The floor is yours to sell your dream, and then final thoughts.
No, it's not a Farmers League. As I said the other day, it's for the rest of the league to improve their buying ability and to just improve. You got it. Like I said the other day. We're there, they're there. Every time they do that, we do that. They're playing catch-up all the time. Every other club, United, they all wanted Pep as manager. Pep didn't go, now he's crap. It's not a Farmers League. Because if you come out with a stat last week, didn't you, Rob? Look who's won the league in the last sort of 10 years in the Premier League. There's been 4 or 5 different teams who've won it. That's not the same as Germany or France. That's Farmers League. But Leicester, was it a Farmers League when they won it? Chelsea, they won it. Liverpool won it for the first time in 30 years. Is it a Farmers League then? So, no, it's just another baton to it is over the head with. Like I said, jealousy and envy is a very cruel mistress. And unfortunately, 19 other teams and 19 other supporter lot are suffering with it all day long. Let our football be boring. It's boring because you don't like being slapped every week. Sorry, deal with it.
A bit of arrogance there from Martin. Kind of like it, though. Kind of like it.
Prove your game and get the ball off us. Be more competitive. What should we do? Just stop? Play musical statues for you? No. Sorry, deal with it. Get on with it. It's not a Farmers League. You just play like farmers.
Exactly. Charlie's just said there, did they call it a Farmers League when United won it 8 times or whatever it was in a row? Not 8 times in a row, but they won it 8 times in a decade. Beautiful. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Martin, go on. You've got 5 seconds. Massive thank you to Bernard. Massive thank you to Ozzy.
Yeah, thanks, Bernard.
Massive thank you to Martin. And massive thank you to everyone who's watching. I love it when we get people watching, commenting. I do read all your comments and I do try and reply to them. Thank you very much. That's been another episode of The 20. We'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.